Alright, what is going on everyone, and welcome to my special guide. So we're currently playing on the PTS server, that's why I get to make all these different characters and test everything out. So with Imperial City coming around at the end of August for all of you PC players, or even console players, this video will help you as well. So before we start, a lot of people have been asking me what race should I pick for my character, and just in general, like if you're just going through the storyline, it really doesn't matter. But if you actually do intend to play this game all the way to the late game and end game, all that stuff, you would probably want to maximize the potential of every character you make. So this is more of like a beginner to advanced thing. Usually this might be on your second character just because you want to like maximize DPS, or you want to go full healer or full tank, whatever you want to do. So, as you may know, there are 4 different classes: the Dragon Knight, the Sorcerer, the Nightblade, and Templar. And there are 10 different races, including the Imperial, which is like you buy the Imperial Edition. It's kinda like an extra one. But we'll go over everything, just in case. As for Alliance, it doesn't really matter what you pick. You're going to be playing through all 3 stories eventually on the same character. But just if whatever one you want to pick. But if you're looking for my opinion in storyline, which one was the best, I thought the Aldmeri Dominion was the nicest one and had the coolest storyline. And then the Ebonheart Pact came in second with a pretty interesting story, and then Daggerfall is my least favorite. Not saying it's bad, but I just didn't like it as much. Alright, so let's go to the important part where all the races matter. What I'm going to be covering in this one is pretty much what each race does and what kind of builds fit primarily with it. Okay? So let's start with the Breton. Now, the Breton is used primarily for a bonus of Magicka, Light Armor, and Spell Resistance. So, if you choose that, you would probably want to be like a Sorcerer or any kind of magic build specific. When you use Light Armor and Magic, you'll get a huge bonus to that, including spell resistances. So, for the most part, in my opinion, the classes that I would choose are either Sorcerer, Magic Nightblade, Magic Dragon Knight, or a full Magic Healer Templar. I don't know everything about this game, but I do believe my opinion is strong enough to give you all advice. I've been playing this game for over a year now, so I've tested almost everything, and I'm just giving you guys a strong opinion on what I think would be very like optimal for what you would want to do. So, in any case, Breton is pretty much magic builds. You get resistance and bonuses to Magicka. Alright, next, the High Elf. Now, the High Elf is pretty much for magic builds who use staffs and healing. So primarily, like, if you want to be a healer or pretty much DPS with magic only. Most of the time, the only people who choose High Elf characters are sorcerers. Now, because you use a destructive staff and a restoration staff, running out of magic won't be an issue at all, and generally you'll be pretty much unstoppable for DPS or healer. Templar and Sorcerer are very optimal builds for this one, and that's what I really have to say about that one. Alright, Argonian. Not many people actually play Argonian. The reasoning is you get bonuses to healing, restoration staves, and poison resistances. That doesn't really say too much. You get a bonus in healing, yes, but the High Elf also does a good job of that for Templars, and poison resistance is it's kind of good for PvP, but if you're going to be playing an Argonian, chances are you're probably not going to have like a werewolf or anything anyway. Since you're doing healing and restoration staffs, you're not going to be doing much DPS. So you would probably choose a vampire over a werewolf. So poison resistance is just kind of questionable. Like, that's just there to have it. But the primary reason you would be using an Argonian is for the bonus of healing and restoration staffs as a healer. But the class I would primarily choose an Argonian with is probably a Templar. Just because you have a lot of heals. The Templar is one of the best for healing. And that would probably be my choice if I were to roll one again. Alright, the Orc. Not many people play the Orc. You get a bonus with heavy armor and health regen. Now, what this means is, if you're playing an Orc, you're most likely going to be using heavy armor. You're going to be a tank or light DPS. So the best class to use this for would be a Dragon Knight, whether you want to be DPS or you want to be a tank. An Orc is great for that because if you're going to be a tank, obviously you want to have a lot of health and stack heavy armor. So in my opinion, that one would be the best to use, and that's pretty much it. You don't get any other bonuses. So not many people play Orcs from what I've seen in the past year and a half or so. But fingers crossed they'll make it better in the future. Right now it's just kind of people who only play tanks. Alright, the Wood Elf. What can we say about a Wood Elf? They have improved archery, stamina, and stealth to make them like better. So what classes would use archery and stamina and stealth? A Nightblade. The best time, the best kind of optimization you would choose for a Wood Elf Nightblade is primarily stamina, because you get the regen for that, and the Nightblades have an ability where you can actually go invisible and do most of your abilities in stealth to get a critical bonus. So if you're maximizing DPS, you would choose a Wood Elf Nightblade. And not many people use bows. Templars also use bows. That is also a good choice, but I still think Nightblades are a little bit higher up in the DPS scale than Templars, if you're going to be using stamina only. If you were to compare like a stamina Nightblade to a stamina Templar, then your secondary would probably be a bow, but right now the bows really don't do much damage. Your highest bow ability would be the poison injection or your snipe ability. So stamina for Templars and Nightblades are very good. Next we have a Dark Elf. They get a bonus in dual wielding, fire magic, and fire resistance. Now, you would use this primarily as a DPS dual wielding character, so that goes for Dragon Knights, Nightblades as well. That's primarily it. But that's, if you're going for full DPS, those are the two classes that would be getting a huge bonus in dual wields. And fire magic is very good for Dragon Knights as well, because if you've seen some of my other builds, I use a dual wield weapons and straight fire damage destruction staff on my second bar, and all of that is all fire damage, so you get a good bonus for that. And you get fire resistance as well, so if you choose a vampire on this character, you get fire resistance. So if you're doing PvP specifically, you get a little more of a bonus of fire resistance, so you don't get wrecked by ballistas and fire in general. So the two classes I would choose for a Dark Elf would be a Dragon Knight and a Nightblade, regardless of if you use stamina or magicka. Next on the list is Redguard. You get bonuses with shields and stamina regeneration. So first glance at this, Redguards don't seem that good, but the class that most likely would use a Redguard is a Dragon Knight, because if you think about it, shields and stamina regeneration go perfectly with tanks. So a stamina build tank is very good. The best tanks in the game are actually Dragon Knights who use stamina, because you can just like stack all health and stamina, and that's generally what people want. And believe it or not, tanks are very hard to find in game for like dungeons, PvE, and PvP actually. So if you were to choose a Redguard tank Dragon Knight, then I guarantee you're gonna get queued into like bosses and dungeons if you were to look for one almost immediately. That's just my opinion, and it's very important to have some as well. Alright, a Kajeet. Kajeet, I think that's how you pronounce it. You get a bonus to stealth, health regeneration, and weapon damage. Whoa. So there's a lot of classes that obviously have good health regeneration and weapon damage, but the best classes you would use a Kajeet for is probably a Nightblade, because one, like I mentioned earlier, you have stealth abilities primarily, and if you combo stealth with a Nightblade, you pretty much do a lot of damage. And health regeneration is just across the board. All classes are good, and weapon damage, obviously every class wants weapon damage, maybe except sorcerers, but this goes well with pretty much all classes. But if you want to maximize DPS, I would probably go Nightblade with a Kajeet. Alright, a Nord. Not many people play Nords because you get a bonus with two-handed weapons, health regen, and frost resistance. Now, frost resistance is like the most random thing. Generally, throughout the game, if you want anything, you would want fire resistance, poison resistance, and lightning resistance. Simply because fire resistance, if you are a vampire, you would take more damage, so you want that. And if you're a werewolf, you take more damage from poison, so you want to prevent that. And sorcerers primarily have an actual skill line for all lightning abilities, so those are very dangerous, but it happens to just give you a frost resistance, which is like the dumbest thing ever. But health regeneration in general is not that great, simply because there are potions, and if you're like in groups or playing with your friends, you generally have a healer, so health regeneration doesn't really give you that much. And as a Nord, you have the option to play with one-handed sword and shield or two-handed. So I would believe that is the best one to choose. And for classes, honestly, I would not play a Nord anything. But if you really, really want to give yourself a challenge, you could probably go Templar or Dragon Knight Nord. Alrighty, so Imperial. This one is like the quote-unquote pay-to-win class or race that you get if you have like the Imperial edition. Now what this class does, it gives you a bonus with shields, health, and stamina. Now almost all the classes I've played, I've chosen Imperial Dragon Knight, Imperial Templar, generally because my health is usually a little bit low because I like stacking DPS, and if you get a 12% health bonus and a 10% stamina bonus with the Imperial. So overall, generally, those are two very important things to have. In my opinion, the best classes to choose Imperial on are Nightblade, Dragon Knights, and Templars. But if you want to maximize everything, I would say probably a Dragon Knight has the best optimization for Imperials. Now, let's say you want to choose something else. There are... Wait, I think I missed one. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. I hope you enjoyed it. You learned something from it. If you didn't and you still have any questions, feel free to let me know. Leave it in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. But just in conclusion, as a little summary, if you're just playing this for the story, race for the most part doesn't matter. You should be able to clear it just fine without any problems. But if you're looking to do actual endgame, and you're trying to like min-max just to get top DPS humanly possible, try to like match something you would want to play. And just as some beginner advice, like play what you want to play, but try to like pick something, like actually read the description a little bit. So if let's say you know you want to play a tank, try choosing something with like shields or resistances and health magic bonuses or whatever you want to do. But overall, I hope that gave you a short summary of what each race did and what class you should pick for each race. So with that said, see you guys later. Thanks for watching.